What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here tonight with the review for Power. This is season 6, episode 9, and it's titled Scorched Earth. So, you guys, next week is going to be the mid-season finale of Power, and we'll be off, and I think until January when it comes back for the last, 5 episodes of the season. So, without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and just jump into the video. Alright, you guys, so the episode, it is after Tommy found Keisha dead last week. So we see Tommy, he's in the car, he has Cash in the back seat. We don't necessarily know what's going on, but then we do see that he takes him to Keisha's baby dad, whose name is Kadeem, played by Jesse Williams from Grey's Anatomy. So then he asks Tommy, he was like, so do you know who killed her? He says, well, I have a good idea, but I'm not entirely positive. I'm like, you don't have a good idea at all, because the person that you think killed Keisha is not the person who actually killed Keisha, but that's neither here nor there. But he says, you know what, I'll find the person who did this and I'll make this right. And I'm like, you're thinking you're going to find Ghost, and Ghost is the one that killed her, but it's not Ghost, it's your good friend Tasha. So, then he asked him, well, can Cash come and see you from, sometime? And he was like, I don't really know about that. So then as Tommy is leaving, we see Blanca, annoying ass, comes up to Tommy, and she's questioning him about everything. Because I don't know what Blanca's thinking. I'm guessing Blanca's thinking that he killed Keisha. But luckily enough for Tommy, Tommy has an alibi that, he and Cash were at the mall trying to get a ring for Keisha. He says, don't bother him. And she said, so he tells her he has no reason to kill her. Because, she's trying to talk about, well, Keisha was going to flip on him. He's like, Keisha was never going to flip on me. And, she tells him, what, Tommy, don't seek revenge. Let us handle it. I'm like, you're talking to a brick wall at this point. You do realize that. So then we do see Tommy. So he was looking at the ring he got Keisha. And he got her actually a nice pear-shaped ring. I'm like, oh, that is nice. So then Ghost calls him and asks him, like, hey, Tommy, did you keep up your end of the deal? Tommy says, yeah, I kept up my end of the deal. We're taking out Jason. So then, Ghost tells him, like, hey, when it comes down to contacting Jason, don't do it. So Tommy's like, gotcha. So then we see Tommy later in the episode. He calls 2-Bit to meet at the warehouse because Jason is going to meet them there with some more weight to drop off. And then, 2-Bit is asking about Ghost. He's like, why you always asking about this motherfucker? And he says that, when it comes down to Ghost, you don't have to worry about him. We are done, as in it's over. Finito. So then we do later see the crew. So they're at the warehouse, and then they all questioning, should they still be working for Tommy? They don't want to get caught up. I'm like, y'all speaking to the choir because y'all are about to get caught up, and we'll get into how they got caught up a little bit later. So then it does happen. They get busted, and so Tommy notices he was heading there, but Tommy didn't get caught because he saw from the he was looking on the outside and saw them. He was like, oh. And then 2-Bit saw him looking, and they were like, yeah, look at that motherfucker over there. Like, when this is over with, it's a done deal. I'm like, y'all are probably going to jail for a good while. I'm pretty sure y'all got some priors, so yeah, say goodbye to those. You know what, I can do without 2-Bit for real, because 2-Bit is just really, really stupid, dumb as fuck, just stupidly dumb. Alright, so we see Ghost. So Ghost is looking at a place. I didn't know what that was, but they later explained it to us a little later in the episode. But then we see Ghost. He's meeting with, well, he didn't meet with them. Ramona showed up with Lorette, the woman that is running against Tate for the governor of New York. So they're there because they are still trying to push this narrative of Ghost running for, governor. I'm like, really? So he's going to go from a dope boy to a club owner to a politician? This shit really ain't making sense, but okay. So then James, he started to notice that, the reason why Lorette wants him on there is because she's trying to capture the black vote. And he's like, oh, so that's what you're doing. You just want me for the black vote. So then, she tells him that she wants him as her lieutenant governor. I'm like, again, do y'all not, like Tariq said last week, 2 weeks ago, do y'all not do background checks on people? Like, if y'all do an extensive background check on this motherfucker, go to the hood, y'all figure out he's not who he says he is, but whatever. So we then later see Ghost, he's talking to Jason, and he's trying to get Jason to invest the building for the QCP because he doesn't have enough money for it. So what he wants Jason to do is be a silent partner with him. He wants him to go in half with him, but again, be that silent partner that doesn't say anything, that doesn't come around, that doesn't do anything. So Jason's like, I don't know about that. And Ghost is like, well, how about you just meet me there so you can take a look at it? He says, but also when you come there, don't bring a gun because there's a metal detector, and we don't want to be hauled off because of weapons. He was like, I do whatever I want to do. But then Jason, says, you know what, I'll think about it. I'm like, okay, Jason. So then we do see Ghost. So he's meeting with Jason. And, Jason asked him, has he talked to Tommy? He was like, nah, I haven't really talked to Tommy. And then, he says, actually, Jason tells him that Andre had reached out to him about being his new distro, which we'll get into that a little bit later. And Ghost says, well, you know what, why don't you just meet with him? And there's no harm in meeting with the dude. If he doesn't work out for you, no harm, no foul. So they're on the elevator. And actually, Jason hesitated to go through the metal detector for a few minutes, but he finally did go through there and clean. So, they get on the elevator, and Jason's like, you know what, I thought you would come to your senses about being my distro. And Ghost was like, yeah, no, I'm not in that life anymore, so not gonna happen. So then Ghost bends down to tie up his shoes, and as he's tying up his shoes, he feels that something is off. So Jason's phone went off, and on his phone, it was a text message from Tommy saying, Ghost is gonna try to kill you. So then Jason has something, I don't know if it was like a shoestring or something, but he has it, and he and Ghost start fighting with each other, and then he puts it around his neck, trying to strangle him with it, but Ghost managed to get the upper hand on him, and then he puts it up to Jason's neck, and he kills Jason. I'm like, wow, did not see that one coming. So then, as Ghost goes back down the elevator, he tells the guy, actually he texts the guy, I think his name, he texts Dre, and he texts someone else. Let's see what that guy's name was he texts, because I typed it up. Drago or something like that. So he texts Dre to meet him at that building, and then he texts Drago telling him that Dre double-crossed him. So when he goes down there to the guy, he tells him, okay, so we're going to set it up this way. So Andre's coming here. When Andre gets here, you call the cops. We're going to have surveillance footage of him coming in, and then we'll set him up that way. I'm like, oh, so you thought this one, you kind of thought this one through. So then as he's leaving, Ghost calls Tommy and tells him, like, you set me up. He was like, yeah, I set you up because you don't want to kill Lakeisha. He says, Lakeisha? He said, I ain't kill no damn Lakeisha. Like, why would I kill Lakeisha? And I'm like, Tommy, think, like, if Ghost killed Lakeisha, that was a sloppy job for real. Like, do you know him to be sloppy? Come on. Tommy just does not think things through. So then we see Ghost, he's at Truth, and then Cousin Vinny shows up. And, he says, you lied to me, Ghost, because I checked into the guy that you said went after my cousin, and he had an alibi. And Ghost was like, well, I'm just going off of what, Proctor told me, and that's what Proctor told me. He says, okay, I still think you're lying to me. And Ghost says, well, I don't have definitive proof, but I believe that it was Tommy that killed Proctor. He was like, why would Tommy kill Proctor? Because he said he felt like Proctor was going to go against him. So then he asked him about Tariq, and because he says that Tariq is the one that brought a little Elisa Marie to him. And Ghost was like, well, the cops questioned him, and he didn't know anything about it. So Vinny says, what? He's so funny, because when I met with you and with Vincent, I did get a funny vibe from Tommy. And he says, what? I'll find out one way or the other. Either Tommy's going to tell me the truth, or he's going to be coughing up some blood. So we do see Cousin Vinny. He does go after Tommy. And I would have thought Cousin Vinny would have been stronger than Tommy, but I guess that crazy crackhead strength that Tommy got managed to help him kill Cousin Vinny because he stabbed him, and then he just started bleeding out, which I'm like, really? I was kind of confused about that. I'm like, if you stab somebody, right, because your heart, because he stabbed him up here. Like, he could have, like, Cousin Vinny could have put some pressure on that, but whatever. He died. I thought it was a stupid death, but he died nonetheless. So we're going to move on. All right, so let's move over to Ramona. So Ramona, she goes to Tate's office. Tate asks her, does she know anything about who Lorette is going to use as her running mate? she says no, that she doesn't know anything about that, and she's still on Tate's side. I'm like, oh, so you're going to play this into the end, huh? So, he tells her that he is cutting ties with James. And, he asked her, do you know why he missed the last meeting? She said, well, he did have a family issue. And then I also hear that you, cut the permits to the QCP project. And she's like, don't you think you'll get some blowback from that? He does not care. He says that he has something on James that'll make James bow down for good. I'm like, oh, okay. So then we do see Tate, and he meets with James, and he says, you know what, this relationship right here, done, finito. So he tells him, like, I know that you set that robbery up at the club, and then I said I had to actually kill that guy that I knew. And then he tells me, you know what, I know that you're a dope dealer, Ghost. And I'm like, oh, okay, Tate, you just showed your cards. And he played you, because he was like, who is Ghost? And he says, if I'm half the person that you think I am, don't you think I would have already killed you by now? So, and Ghost says, you know what, you're right, we are done. And he says, you know what, you'll read about my next move in the paper tomorrow. So then we see Ramona. She's back at Tate's, and she's, Tate is talking to her about the campaign. She says, well, you know what, I no longer work for you because I'm going to work with Lorette and her running mate. And he was like, she doesn't have a running mate. Oh, she says, you gotta watch the news because she does have a running mate, and it's going to be James. And she's leaving for Lorette and James. I'm like, ooh, you got egg on your face. Sorry to tell you, Tate, but she played you. But she's gonna get played too when her boyfriend ends up in jail. Cause I just see that coming, her boyfriend's gonna end up in jail. But we're gonna move on. Alright, so next let's talk about this annoying ass Blanca. So we saw Blanca. She met up with Andre to ask him if he knows anything about who killed Keisha. He says, well, my money would be on Tommy. She says, well, Tommy has an alibi, so it wasn't Tommy. He said, well, how about you look into some of his crew? And she was like, well, where would I be able to find his crew? He's like, I don't know. She was like, so where's the warehouse at? He said, again, I don't know. She's like, you really advocated so hard for getting this off of you, and I don't have it. He's like, you know what? When they took me, they put me in the fucking trunk, so I didn't see anything. But all you have to do is just trace the last few places it was, and bam, you found the warehouse. And he also lets her know that, hey, they keep all their weight there, so that is the reason why Tommy them got raided, because of Andre. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, y'all all think that this is Ghost, but he's a lot smarter than what you guys think he is, and I just don't get it. But whatever. So then we saw Andre. So like I said earlier, he called Jason about doing business with him, because he tells Jason that with Tommy, his business is about to go under because his crew is about to get raided. And, so he tells him, like, you'll lose money. So Jason's like, you know what, let me think about that and let me get back in contact with you. And Andre was like, yeah, you do that. So then we do later see Andre talking to his new crew about Jason, and how, the distro will be reaching out to them very soon about moving the product. So then we see Jason talk to one of his guys about the last, has he talked to Tommy? No. So then, Jason also tells him that he's meeting with Ghost, and his guy was telling him, like, take this gun. He was like, no, I think this is legit, because he said, I looked into it, so it's good. He says, Jason, take the gun. So then we see Andre. So he went to the place that Ghost told him to go to, and when he got there, he saw Jason's dead body. And then there was a man like, hey, what are you doing? And Andre takes off running, and I'm like, ooh. So then we also saw Blanca. She met up with Sax, and she tells him that Lakeisha is dead. And he tells her, well, shit, I mean, if anybody did it, it's Tommy. She says, no, Tommy didn't do it. So he says, she was like, I didn't understand your methods before, but now I'm really starting to understand your methods, and I need your help. So he says, okay, Tasha is close to both Tommy and James. Why don't you put more pressure on her? So then we do see them later. They go and talk to Tasha, and they're asking her, like, so did James kill Lakeisha? She keeps saying, she pretended like she did not know that Lakeisha was, she didn't pretend like she didn't know. She pretended to be upset that Lakeisha was dead. So she says, no, that Ghost didn't do it. So they say, you know what, if you don't help us, we're going to look deeper into where Tariq really was the night that Raymond Jones was murdered. And she says, again, he didn't do it, but I do know that he murdered Terry, but I do know he killed Terry Silva. And they were like, how do you know that for sure? So then she starts to tell them like where they might be able to find the body at. And so they go into this parking garage, and I don't know why this fool left the door open, but the door was unlocked. So they unlocked the door and they lifted up the trunk, and there was Terry's body in the trunk. So then Sax, he goes to the, and he opens the door and he's still looking in there, and he finds, I believe that might have been Terry's cell phone. So then we also saw that Andre went to Sax asking him for help. So Sax gives him the cell phone, telling him to plant that on Ghost, so that way that they can have something on him. And I'm like, and I'm just sitting there thinking like, so that's a plastic bag, but that has Andre's touching it with his bare hands. So that has your fingerprints on it. So how is Sax gonna protect him? Didn't understand that at all. But we're just gonna move on. All right, guys, and then let's lastly talk about Tasha. So we see Tasha, she is conducting business at the daycare with Epiphany, and then Ghost comes in. He was like, wait a minute, Tasha, are you selling drugs out of the daycare? And then he was like, you know, we have to go to this meeting at Tariq's school. She's like, well, I can't go because I'm working, Ghost. So Ghost is like, you know what, since I'm the only one that cares about him and, you know, is doing stuff for him, I'll go. And I'm like, wow, this nigga is bold. So then we see Ghost, he's meeting with Tariq's teacher, who tells him, hey, I'm really surprised. Tariq is doing an amazing job here. And he's working. He's like, wait a minute, he's working. He's like, yeah, he's working part-time with his mom at the daycare. So, and he's like, we keep the pay stubs, and then, whatever hours they work, we apply it as credits. And then Ghost, he goes back to Tasha's. He is pissed off. And he's in her apartment. She's like, wait a minute, how the fuck did you get here? Have you lost your fucking mind? He says, have you lost your fucking mind? Like, you moving weight at the daycare, Tasha? And he was completely fucking disrespectful to Tasha. And she was like, you know what, I accept Tariq and I'm trying to protect Tariq, and you should do the same. And, he tells her, you know what, Tasha, if you keep doing this shit, I'm going to shut your business down and I'm going to take Yaz from you. I'm like, wait a minute, where is Yaz? Like I asked that question, where the fuck is Yaz? Because we have not saw Yaz since that one episode, so neither one of y'all are fit parents for Yaz, but that's neither here nor there. So, she says, if you try that shit, I will go and tell the feds that you killed Terry Silva. So then, they get into a heated match with each other. I'm like, damn, he rubbed Tasha up. I'm like, God damn, I didn't see. I mean, she said, and then, after they done, she's like, Ghost, if you ever put your hands on me like that again, I will kill your ass. I'm like, yeah, you should have shot that nigga right then and there. So then this no good ass motherfucker called the feds on her and said that, she was selling drugs out of the daycare. So Blanca shows up with the warrant to search the daycare. Luckily enough, Tasha was one step ahead of Ghost, and she, got rid of all the drugs. And, Epiphany is there as well with her son. So once the feds leave, Epiphany's like, you know what, Tasha, me and my girls, we out of this shit. Tasha was like, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Like, I was prepared for it. She's like, you were prepared for it this time, but going forward, no. And then Blanca, she told one of her guys to go to the warehouse, Tommy's warehouse. So then we also later saw Q. So Q shows back up. I'm like, wait a minute, where has he been at? So, he's asking Tasha, is she okay? She says, I don't know because I feel like I'm about to lose my business. She was like, why would any parent want to bring their kids here when I just got raided by the feds? So then he started questioning her about Ghost. He's like, so do you want me to do something? She's like, she's like, I know how to handle him. I don't need your help. So then he notices that she's bruised up. He's like, was that your ex-husband? He was like, some niggas don't know how to take no for an answer. She says, kind of like you, huh? And he was like, Tasha, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. She was like, I do like you. I want you, but I can't do this. So yeah. So let's move on. Where we at? So then we see Tommy. So Tommy was telling Tasha, that, Ghost can't come after him because of Jason. And now he's, trying to take him down by, taking things out around him. He tells her about Keisha being dead. She pretended like she didn't know. And she's like, Keisha was my sister. I'm like, well, she was a sister that you shot point blank in the fucking head. But whatever. So, he tells her that, Ghost took out his warehouse. She's like, you know what? He did the same shit to me. And so, Tommy leaves. He says, I'm not telling y'all. I'm not asking for permission, but he's taking him out. So then after Tommy leaves, Tariq asks Tasha if she knew that Keisha was dead. And then, she says, yes, I knew she was dead because I'm the one that killed her. He gets mad. He's like, why come you didn't tell me that shit, Ma? And then he looks at her. He see that she's bruised all up. And he's like, who did this to you? She said, Ghost did this to me. So then we see Tariq. He is talking to Ghost. And he tells him, like, hey, here's the key to your place. I ain't never coming back to that place again. And, he says, I know what happened between you and Ma. And first of all, don't you ever put your hands on her again. I'm like, ooh, this little nigga got bold. And, Ghost trying to tell him that he's trying to protect him. He's like, you know what? Again, you ain't my daddy. I don't fuck with you. And again, if you put your hands on Ma, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to kill your bitch ass. And I'm like, ooh, okay. Okay, but you guys, that was pretty much the episode. So be sure to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later.